Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching our second Beyblade Journeys Q&A video. Really appreciate you sharing and your support as always. Without further ado, let me let a special guest take it away for the second ever Q&A video.
Hey guys, this is Lance Kataki here, and today I will be answering your questions from the Beyblade Journeys series. As always, we really appreciate your support, so please continue to comment, like, and share our videos so we can get Beyblade Journeys as widespread as possible. Without further ado, let's jump into our questions. Guys, so the first question on today's list is from the Roblox Theorist. He asks if we will make a prequel where Burst Bays are the main bays and how Netflix becomes the champion. So great question. To answer that, I don't really see us making a series where Burst Bays are the canon line. However, we could consider making a prequel where we go over Netflix's story and how he becomes the champion. If you guys would like to see that, please leave a comment in the video description, and if it gets enough likes, we might make that a reality. All right, guys, so our second set of questions here comes from Shadow Purple. He asked a couple questions here, all of which I think are very interesting. I may not be able to cover all of them, but I am going to cover at least the ones that I think are very important. So starting with question number 1 here, he asks, when are we going to see CX Bays? And to be honest here, a lot of people have been asking if we're going to see the CX Bays. And the answer to that question is yes, CX Bays are in the series. Any bay from the Beyblade X generation you can see. So CXs, UXs, and BXs, we will see all of them. As far as when specifically we will see a CX Bay, kind of hard for me to gauge that. We just got to keep waiting is my best answer for that. So, question number 2, another heavily asked question. How many episodes are going to be in season 1 of Beyblade Journeys? Guys, me and Nick have been very, very vague about this question. We have kind of glossed over. We've, haven't really given you a great answer for this. However, today, I'm here to tell you the answer to that. Season 1 will have 9 episodes total, guys. 9 episodes. So we just published episode 6. With that being said, you guys have 3 more episodes of season 1. All right, so the next question that Shadow Purple asked, are we ever going to introduce more actors? I think that's a perfectly valid question. So far, we've only had me and Nick really just kind of bouncing between different characters, and I know sometimes it can be a little confusing to tell who's who. However, we are currently working to bring more people on board this project. All right, so the last question I'm going to go over from Shadow Purple is, are we going to see some familiar faces like Skylar or Lance in the World Tournament? Great question. So obviously, as we found out in episode 3, only ranked fighters are able to participate in the Beyblade World Championship. With that being said, if Skylar and or Lance are ranked at the time of the Beyblade World Championship, they're eligible to participate. So I have a good feeling if they are ranked, we could very well be seeing them there. All right, guys, so now we have a question from Amir Bricks. He's asking, are the Beyblade Burst Bays canon? And the answer to that is unfortunately no. So we are only focusing on Beyblades from the X generation. However, you may see Beyblades from other generations, such as the remakes Pegasus, the remakes Valkyrie. All right, guys, so now we actually have a question from our Discord server. And yes, guys, we do have a Discord server, so please go ahead and feel free to join. Link will be in the description. All right, so somebody/nobody is asking, was Phoenix owned by anyone else except Nick? Answer to that is no. So Nick is the first user of Flame Phoenix. He is unique in that aspect. All right, guys, we are saving the best for last here. We got a couple questions from our good friend Baymaster. All right, question number 1. What was going on with the board in the 128 room? Great question. And before I get into the answer with that, I think you nailed it, Baymaster. Watching your reaction video, I think you hit it pretty on the head of the nail here. I think you kind of answered most of the board, and I think you got it figured out. So definitely a round of applause for that. I was very happy to see that you were able to work your way through that. All right, guys, so I put a little image of the board on the right side of the screen here so we can kind of go over it together. So first thing, the top of the board, it says DRP. In episode 6, we find out that DRP means the Dark Resonance Project. Going down from that, the Dark Resonance Project has a down arrow to the 128. Basically, this was a little vague, but what we were trying to get at is that through the 128, Loki will accomplish the Dark Resonance Project. The next thing on the board that we should go over is the kind of sun and moon emblem. A lot of people have looked at that. They're not really sure what to decipher. However, like I said before, Baymaster, you got it, man. You solved it. So I don't want to get too in depth with this answer just because episode 7 is coming out soon, guys, and that will have a lot of answers for us. But obviously, we got the sun into the moon, we got light into darkness, so I'll let you guys ponder with that one. All right, so Baymaster, your second question of the night. You're asking, are the Baytuber Easter egg names on the board just Easter eggs, or are they bladers in the 128 tournament? Great question. So, technically, because they are on the board, these are actual fighters in our universe. So guys, if you saw your name on the board, you are canon in the Beyblade Journeys universe. All right, so now we have a little bit of an extension question from that last one. Baymaster asks, if they were in fact bladers, what were their bays and who did they battle? To answer that question, I kind of have to preface with the fact that Beyblade Journeys is mainly told from Nick's perspective. With that being said, we don't really get to hear much about other fighters and how they did in the 128 tournament. So at this moment in time, I really don't have a great answer for you. However, I will say something that may pique your interest. The thing in question is, we may find out more about these fighters. Who knows, maybe some of these fighters will return in the World Championship Tournament. Only time will tell. All right, Baymaster, your third question is, will we see more of Team B4 in future episodes? And the answer to that is, yeah, potentially. We are working very hard to try to get Team B4 in the spotlight. Obviously, Barry, Gary, and Larry all have had a very profound impact on Nick, and they're his teammates. So we're hoping to see more action from the boys from Team B4. So we'll just kind of have to hang out and see what happens with them. All right, guys, I'm really hoping that my answers kind of help solve a lot of the questions that you guys had. If you found that your question wasn't quite answered in this video, please feel free to leave comments in the description. And also, guys, join that Discord server. We have a huge channel for Beyblade Journeys related discussions. With that being said, Nickflix, thank you so much for allowing me to host this Q&A session. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you.
Thanks, Lance Kataki. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Bye.